Greetings, God bless. I just wanted to share some thoughts about getting insurance. And in my experience, people who have put a lot of money into insurance and they have legitimate claims, what insurance companies do is everything they can to not pay the claim. And so you hear about people that had a bad car accident or a fire or whatever, and the insurance is like, oh, we don't cover that, blah blah blah. And I've heard this over the years, and lately, um, for storage units, now they want you to have insurance, and for renting an office, they want you to have insurance. And so I talked to the guy, and he was saying, yeah, if somebody wants to sue you, and then they try to sue the building, and then the building, is accused of having you in the building. And I mean, all this stuff. Now, if we look at the past 3 years of the crimes against humanity, the long term disability that was implemented by the government, by schools, by the media, by medicine itself. If we look at the history of medicine and the malfeasance it does as should be called malfeasance, because automatically, if you look at this, I think very few people ever sue for all the harms that medicine does, that schools are doing right now, that government is doing. And even when people sue, I know, like, yeah, once, maybe there's 10 settlements a year, that's being paid out. But uh, it just is such it like um, it seems like people are victimized by insurance. They pay into it, and insurance does everything it can to not protect the person. And then the people who are doing these egregious crimes against your local community and individuals, from deforming people and um, harming people and killing people, like audits need to be done. Did Medicare pay for all the people who were executed in hospitals and nursing homes the past 3 years? Did like was this covered? Were people's deaths covered by Medicare? Was organ harvesting of those executed people, was that covered by insurance? Because it was, you know, it is. Because hospitals are not going to do these things for free, even though that it makes them money. So, but who's going to audit that? Nobody's going to audit that. So, anyways, it's just really frustrating because, um, like lies, like the insurance guys, like, oh, and all this stuff could happen. He knows it's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen, um, because the past 3 years nobody's done anything. And like, let's look at like reckless driving, dangerous drivers, probably people who have killed people driving a car. Nothing's done. It's only when it's like some big somebody of influence, or when it somehow makes the news or something like that. When somebody that's not in the club, or when an example is meant to be made, because there's no justice. There's like, you are naive if you think that people who are breaking the law, killing people, harming people, you are naive if you think anybody's doing anything about it, because they're not. The trusted agents of the public good are the perpetrators just as much as any weird, random, crazy, evil person. Like, the trusted agents of the public good are the criminals, whether it's the police or the doctors or the schools or whatever, the government. So, yeah, it's just so, yeah, talking to the insurance guy stresses me out. Um, and it's just, and I I guess like big property managers, they like everybody on insurance. Um, it just it's ticking things off the box. And when you're just paying, you're just it's a scam. You're just paying into a scam. You're just paying into this mafia. Basically, just a mafia of inclusion. Like, where you're not going to be allowed here if you haven't paid into the mafia of some stupid evil insurance company that is going to do everything it can to get in your way, not help you if you really have a claim. um so anyway, it's just, I got to do more research maybe about this, but it's just disheartening. um and that the insurance guy preys on the fear of the unknown. And and it's this fear of the unknown, very unlikely to happen. Like, I guess a good question to ask is, how many insurance claims does the insurance company fulfill, and what are the requirements of fulfilling those insurance claims? How often is some little podunk uh, person sued for, you know, saying, I don't believe mainstream narrative, you know. I mean, it's maybe, maybe it does happen, but I don't think so. It's only like big names, like what Dr. Malone sued that one psychiatrist for like $3 million. So I guess that's what's, like these evil, and Dr. Malone worked in vaccines. So he's a scumbag. Vaccines 100% like are like they are known to cause neurological injury and impairment and chronic health issues, Lyme disease, autism. They don't cause Lyme disease, but they have questionable things in the ingredients. Like, why do you want to have fetal cells injected into your blood, and mercury and thimerosal injected into your bloodstream? Do you want to have Lysol injected into your bloodstream? Because that's kind of, in multiple times. If you look at the injection schedule for children, it's like dozens, if not hundreds, of injections that uh, one body will have by the time they're 18. It's like this deliberate, um, slow kill, quality of life reduction effort. And doctors are doing it. I'm sure the doctors aren't doing it to themselves. I'm sure the doctors aren't doing it to their children. Why? Why wouldn't a doctor take hundreds of injections? Why wouldn't a doctor that cared about their children, why wouldn't they inject their children hundreds of times? Because it costs money when your child is chronically ill. It takes a lot of time when your child is chronically ill. It reduces the quality of your life when your child is chronically ill, banging their head on the floor, making grunting sounds, never progressing psychologically, being disabled severely. Yeah, that ruins your life. You're not going to have a wonderful career as a mother, as a doctor, having multiple careers, having, four children or two children or whatever, and traveling the world. You're not going to have that when your kids are all. But docs will give it to you. The docs will make sure you and your kids get it, even though you or your children might have pre-existing conditions like diabetes or whatever. The doctors could care less about your health, and they've shown us this past 3 years, and yet people still believe. So, anyways, this is a frustration, and what do you think? So, God bless. And again, this is just my opinion. It's not the opinion of YouTube.